in the entrepreneur community, there's a saying of just always run your business as if you're planning to sell it, because then you'll always be ready when that time comes. And I wonder if there's a corollary to just always be in fundraising mode as far as making sure that there's a soundness to the underlying data and supportive metrics.
Yeah, exactly. And in my mind, step number one is just educating yourself on how the outside world is going to measure you and analyze and look at you, and go through that diligence request list and figure out where you are strong and where you have areas for improvement, and be proactive about it. So yeah.
I think as we're going through and building new solutions in various platforms as well, it's important to keep that future in mind too. I think so oftentimes we'll build something thinking, hey, we just need this to work for just now or over a short period of time. Taking everything David and Kory just said, it's important to sit there and really look and think when you're building something, this is something that needs to get us data that it might be needed to potentially fundraise or exit the business in 2, 3, 4 years. So it's very hard to kind of think on that long-term strategy, but I think it's very important as we're building things.
I like having an architect on the panel to have that in mind, just knowing that you know where all the data is buried.
Yeah, well, great conversation, guys. I really appreciate all of that. At this point, we do not have any questions from our audience. So as a reminder, those that are on the webinar, feel free to leverage the Q&A function there at the bottom of your screen if you have any additional questions for the panelists. Right now, we are, for those who have joined late, discussing exit preparedness. So we will give it a couple more minutes to see if anyone has any questions. From the panelists, any other comments or thoughts that you might find useful to the audience on this topic?
Yeah, Chandler, I think, if you go to the next level, and, maybe this isn't exactly where you're taking it, but, exit preparedness or end in mind. Think about having the end in mind when you design your metrics. Exit preparedness is kind of the overarching large lens to look at it. The next level down in my mind is looking at your company objectives, your goals and objectives as a company, right? So, and this kind of speaks to operations becoming a strategic partner to the business. Ops really needs to be involved and understand what the company's goals and objectives are, so then that you can back that into how you design your analytics and data and your systems. So from my perspective, what we try to do is we try to look at it, okay, on an annual basis. We might look at back to the exit piece, a 5-year view or something like that. But then on an annual basis, what are your company's goals and objectives? Like, what are we really trying to achieve? And how do our metrics support measuring our execution against that at the company level? And then at each of the department levels, there's things that they are doing as a department that contribute to those company levels, but they also, contribute to things that they need to get done as a department. What metrics and analytics support what they're trying to achieve, right? So it's that next level down. And then down at the lower level, at the individual, or team, I guess, depending on how you're structured or which part you talk about, what are the metrics there that we can measure performance that give us insight to make better decisions? And, really thinking through, what are we trying to achieve and what are the metrics to match that? We've done a number of employee surveys, and this is kind of getting down into the, granular pieces of it, but employees like to know transparently how they're being measured in terms of performance. So if you can put a metric against their performance, it creates an environment of, data-driven culture, accountability, transparency, all that kind of stuff. So really thinking through those levels of company, department, team, individual, spending the time to design your metrics and analytics to support what they're trying to achieve. It's a big lift up front, but pays off, greatly over the long run.